It's your turn now.
In the talk, Swami, you referred Arjuna as a perfect personality, but as I understand, this Arjuna is normally as a representation as our normal human being, so that Sri Krishna can give the discourses in all 18 chapters, and maybe is a fit aspirant. In what respect you are telling as a perfect personality?
Arjuna representation is both human representation, also perfect representation. See, without that perfection expressing itself in the individual, one will not be able to grasp the true knowledge. See, as I said in the morning, the intelligence should become deconditioned. So when the intelligence becomes deconditioned, the understanding, reality expresses itself. So here Krishna expressing himself through Arjuna means perfect personality. Well, Arjuna represents human representation, that is also right. Is to show every spiritual aspirant, or any aspirant for that matter, must be possessed of that caliber, that purity, that sincerity, that dignity. Without that purity, dignity, one cannot achieve anything. So in the Nachiketa representation also same. There is purity of the innocent child, or whatever it is. Then he has the sincerity to know more and more, to know the reality. Then is he affected by the manifest world? We are easily carried away by the what is called material prosperity. See, for us, material prosperity, that is dignity. If you possess more, you are more dignified, you are more respected. That is our thinking. But here, real dignity comes from the expression of this supreme reality. It is that makes everyone courageous, dignified, and all that. Here is Arjuna also the same. He had that purity, he had that sincerity. And then that sincerity expressed itself as dignity.
If he is so perfect, then why did he want to fight in the first place?
Yeah, the fight is against the negative forces. Now, to show to everyone, every one of us have those forces in the unconscious. As I said, we are educated. Educated means our upbringing. From childhood onwards, to get identified, to possess, means we become egoistic. Egoism becomes harder and harder. It is not mature. So, if the ego becomes harder and harder, then it leads to all the problems of manifest world. So if you don't want to get into the problems of the manifest world, you have to transform this hard ego as mature ego. Transformation of the hard ego as mature ego is possible by remembering your true nature. Take for example, there is one shloka, verse, Vigata Jvara, be free from this fever of the world, fever of manifest world. See, he refers to fever because for everything, everywhere we tremble. Is it not? You want to get something, if you are not able to get, you start trembling. Somehow you want to catch hold of it. So trembling. It's a kind of fever. And also fear. When there is fear also, there is trembling. So if you to be steady, you need that wisdom. So Arjuna represents that reality, who is freed from the fever of the manifest world.
May I request one simple thing, which is that, would you please talk a little bit more about the composition of kshetra, the composition, which is this 24 elements that they say.
Yeah.
And the term Mahabhutani, does it relate to our gross body, or then because the rest of all other items are intellectual based ones, like Ahankara, Buddhi, etc. So can you please explain the composition?
Yes, so we will be we'll be explaining it when we come to the verse. Now here, there is reference to the Sankhya philosophy also. According to the Sankhya philosophy, the Purusha, then Prakriti, 24 tattvas. Mahat, mind, means mind, universal mind. From that universal mind, every other individual minds are born or have the relation. Now this mind also is formed according to the gunas, 3 gunas, sattva, rajas and tamas. Now, this dominance makes the indriyas, karmendriyas, means organs of action, and also internal organs, jnanendriyas. So everything is dominated by the effect of the 3 gunas. So one must be free from the effects of all this. Take for example, I have to do something. I see the weather is not good. I will do it later. I will do it later with the tamasic nature that overpowers me. So, if I am a person of sattvic nature, I will say, it's all right, the weather be bad. I will do it now. It is the time to do. Our program begins at 11 o'clock. I will be there at 11 o'clock. So that is how the sattvika guna makes the individual to be exact, to be perfect. The very nature of the individual reacts to it, anything that is contrary. Say for example, if you are habituated to get up early morning at 5:30, doesn't matter. You are habituated, you get up at 5:30. Whether you have an alarm clock or not, whether you are elsewhere or not, whether there is change of timing or what, it doesn't matter. The body clock itself makes you wake up to that timing. That shows sattvika nature has become more prominent in your personality. Whereas agitation, rajasika, you are always agitated. In the morning you are agitated, in your workplace you are agitated, and agitation not necessarily getting angry, restlessness, less rest.
Yes.
So, because of that less rest,
Yes.
your cells die, you feel tired, there is no enthusiasm. If there is some problem in your work area or activities, in the evening also if that problem, that is there in the mind, it becomes your mantra, problem. Dream also problem. Next morning you get up with that problem. That is Rajika, what is called nature. So here he refers to the Sankhya philosophy also because it is the integration of all philosophical system here in this Bhagavad Gita. As I said in the morning, here the teacher or whatever it is does not annihilate or reject anything, accept everything, brings in the essence, the reality to its representation.
Actually, just referring to that question, why would the mind be here? Like there are certain days and weeks together where you can maintain a fluctuating level, so you can have a very good state for some weeks or days, but then it seems to go back. It's like, I don't understand this fluctuating nature. Why does it fluctuate?
Fluctuation depends upon the inner nature.
Inner nature.
Inner nature and dominance of the gunas, sattva, rajas or tamas.
Right.
And also it has its time, cause and space. For example, in the morning, if you are agitated, that lasts till evening. In the work area also you are agitated. So it means rajas is dominating. Well, how this rajas is affecting your workplace? For example, you have started work, your activity. Because of the morning agitation, here when you start your work also, you are agitated. Oh, I must do this, I must do that. You take your files, you throw here, there. Or, what the hell is this? The agitation. Rajasika nature dominates in everything.
So we spoke about going from tamas to rajas and after sattvic state, but we can be attached also to the sattvic state, isn't it? Because you can be attached to peace.
Yes.
And so wisdom or samadhi, is it not beyond all this, and how to succeed to get there?
Yes, it depends upon how we bring in to our personality the positive thoughts. For this reason, we need to have certain disciplines. Here, spiritual disciplines does not mean religious disciplines. It is totally personal disciplines for evolution or for progress. That is full acceptance of the discipline. It is not imposed by the external forces. So when it is accepted by oneself, there is love for it, respect for it. So it is only for my good. I want to be like this. So it comes from the positive thought, positive action. So this makes us calmer, cooler, peaceful, harmonious. Even if there is some problem or agitation, you are not affected by it. You know as how to face it. So that is why the discipline means it is accepted by one's own self, by heart. So it is how, by certain disciplines, one goes on intensifying the sattvic nature. Otherwise, what happens is that, yes, you want to be sattvic, but then workplace says, in spite of yourself, it makes you agitated. For example, you ask someone, please do this. That person says, no, I won't do it now, I will do it later. Immediately you get affected. You don't have a chance even to question why the person wants to do it later. Because the person is already agitated. Because of that agitation, you are also agitated. You say, no, you do it now itself. Then one begins to fight. So ego clashes come up. So here a sattvic person, what he or she does is that. Now what? The person does not want to do it now. Must be having some personal problems, or some harmonious changes are taking place in the individual. Oh, let us leave it. Let me see whether the person does it later or not. So also the person may think, oh, if that doesn't person do it, I will do it myself. What is there after all? It belongs to us. So this is how the sattvika nature helps to the individual to overcome the agitative nature. So this helps not only to the individual, helps the other also. So when one individual is calm, the other individual, oh, he's so calm, why should I be agitated? The degree of the agitation comes down. So it is all interconnected. And mind agitation is interconnected. Generally when there is a agitation, you also get agitated. So this vibration, this what is called waves, it affects not only you, not only the other, also everyone. So that is why when we say mind, it is the universal mind that becomes the individual mind. So these waves, they get interconnected. Now, if, for example, you create a positive wave, automatically it affects the other. So that is why we need to get into what is called the spiritual disciplines. Or here, if you don't want to call it spiritual discipline, call it human value disciplines. When you say spiritual discipline, immediately people take it to be religious. Instead of that, human values. Human values are all same for anyone, any religion or any, even if it is sect. Yes.
There's a problem with accepting that, the human value, because then it becomes a function of the mind. So when we say spiritual, what is nice is because you're actually stepping out of the realm of the mind.
Those are spiritual. Those are not spiritual.
Okay.
Can agitation ever be justified as required?
It's not required, but there must be show of little agitation.
Some people don't seem to, with some people, the only way is to be direct, because otherwise they are going to just ignore you and anything else, and like you say, go forcibly forward. So they're doing right in the way that they are doing what they want to do.
What they think right.
Yeah, what they think is right. And you have a problem with that because you're being obstructed in your path. So you want to clear your path.
Yes.
So finally you say, okay, I have to
Yes.
be straightforward and say, this is my requirement.
Yeah, certainly.
So, and you have to say it with agitation because you said it nicely and it hasn't worked. You've done everything in your power to tell this person very nicely that look, this is not on and this is the reason. You've given them good explanation and yet it's going on. Totally ignoring everything. Then you say, okay, now I'm going to give it to you in the right way, whether you like it or not. And that does agitate you because you're now, in a way, going to be stick. So that is why I'm sort of...
Yes, you're right. We need to...
And yet the other person in their way, they're right because they're doing what they think is right. So that is the conflict.
Yes, you're right.
So, Swamiji, you were speaking of structures. Sorry.
No.
You were speaking of structure and discipline. Does this apply to everything? How about love? If we know pure love and it is Nakul and Sahadev, and we know that is there, will it find its own way, or does that also need a structure and discipline?
In the beginning, that also that demands kind of structure. It demands that structure because from childhood onwards we have been educated in a different way. To remove that structure, you need another structure. So in the beginning, that is very much needed. Now, I should combine both this agitation and love.
Hoping you would.
Getting agitated.
For example, your child. Your child is not doing rightly in the way you think. So, how are you going to discipline your child? You may tell nicely with motherly love, my child, don't do it, don't do it. No, the child goes on with childish play. Or the child wants to test the mother, how much patience she has. So, child is continuing its mischief. So mother has to tell, now stop it. When you say stop it, that is a show of anger, kind of force it there. That makes the child afraid. So stops it. It does not mean that love is not there. Love is there. When the child needs, immediately mother is there to do anything that is needed for the child. So it does not mean that love is lost or is not there at all behind that what is called strict saying no or whatever it is.
I was more meaning it the kind of love that if we have experienced for all sentient beings, for trees, flowers, birds, anything, rocks, that sort of love, does that need a method, or is it okay to be like we had so many saints who just poured out pure love? Kabir and Rahim and all these people. They did not follow a particular path, they just were pure love.
Yes.
What are your views on that?
For everything, and for every object in the world has its show of respect and love. I give one example from Holy Mother's life. It's a very small, insignificant act for us. A person who was cleaning with a broom, finished the cleaning and threw the broom like that. And the Holy Mother immediately said, what are you doing? See, the broom has helped you to clean. Now you are showing disrespect by throwing it like that. You will be needing it again next time. So here, why don't you love it and respect it? You need it next time means you must have love for it. So usefulness comes from the show of respect and love. In the same way, in our everyday life, for example, a person might have insulted you, harmed you, tried to do all kinds of what's called acts against you, but in what way we are going to react to the person? So your love is intact. Your respect to the person is intact, not disturbed. Only you are withdrawing yourself from what he or she is doing. So if you want to do things as you want, go on doing it. I am not a party to it. The person is in difficulties, problems, needs the help, you are there. You help. Do what is possible for you. So your love, your peace, your harmony is not disturbed. If the other person is negative, it's not your problem. It is his or her problem.
Story of the scorpion, when they keep on biting, still he is keep on saving.
That is nature.
That is his
That is the
nature.
nature.
He is not giving up his nature, and the scorpion is not giving up his nature.
Yes. So this, this attitude brings more peace and harmony. It doesn't lead to any conflicts. Now you see, we are all interdependent. If not today, tomorrow you are needed. So in one way or other, we are all needed in one way or other. So we can't ignore anything. So that the best way is to keep up our, what's called, purity, dignity and sincerity. It is time for our next program. So Yudhishthira is one who is firmly established in the law of the universe.
So he's already a perfect personality.
Yes, ideal personality.
Perfection should have all
Quite perfect.
five.
Not quite perfect. Ideal from our point of view. Perfection they attain by the time they...
That perfection is different.
Ideal.
Ideal perfection.
Ideal personality.
Ideal human perfection.
No, you just spoke of perfect personalities. Each of those brothers were ideal in what they represented. Then they needed Krishna to round them up to become perfect.
Now you see, we should not take these 5 brothers as 5 different brothers.
Aspects.
They are one and the same reality. So when Arjuna was married to Draupadi, there was conflict. But then she will have 5 husbands. The reply Krishna gave was that, you see, you wanted a person of all the qualities. Now, these 5 brothers are not different quality, one and the same. Also, she is married, though Arjuna was the winner, she was the queen to the king. Yudhishthira means with the law. So Yudhishthira was her husband. Eternal law was her husband. Now here also you see a beautiful significance. Eternal law is infinite consciousness, pure consciousness. What is its power? Manifesting power. Shakti. So Draupadi was nothing but Shakti. So that is why even according to the mythology, Draupadi is eternal. Of course, mythology puts it in such a way, applicable to everyone. She is the eternal Sati, wife.
Swamiji, isn't it through centuries we all think they get as the mythological stories have been handed down, but it seems like somebody very clever has made these as characters as we do in a docudrama, but they are supposed to represent values, and because values must be difficult to teach, so a person, characters being made.
For that reason it's easier to teach this higher value through the personality.
And the biggest test, of course, comes from pain.
Yes.
So that's why the Mahabharata.
Exactly.
Could you please just list the 7 states or the aspects of the Brahman, the 7? Luminosity.
Harmony of pure energy, luminosity, infinite beauty, infinite pure love, infinite pure intelligence, infinite knowledge, and infinite bliss.
So we haven't touched the field yet, no? We will explain later.
In one way we have come to the field.
As in world forces? As when you were talking the world forces?
The field, yes, the field has different aspects. The field, body and mind. Right? When we say mind, there is unconscious mind. There is conscious mind. Now generally the conscious mind gets connected to the unconscious mind. Many of the conflicts come because of that. So it affects the whole. Your karmendriyas means organs of action, organs of perception, intelligence, everything becomes conditioned, controlled because of these interconnections. Well, that field we need to know how these interconnections should become harmonious, connected to the infinite reality or God reality. That is one field. Well, it's true. This interconnection gets affected by the external connections, world forces. As I said, there is a cry of economic crisis everywhere. So you want it or not, you are affected by it. So that is how the world force affects the individual's fate. And then there is another force that affects us, that the upbringing. Take for example, you say, I educate my child according to my understanding, according to my family tradition, according to my religion, religious understanding and all that. So how do you know that your child needs your religious tradition, your family tradition and all that? So you see children react to this. You do like this, you meditate like me. Ashrama is for you, go. I will go to play football.
As it brings its own conditioning when you are born, like we call vasanas.
Yes.
It brings samskaras.
Yes.
Is it the word precondition? You are very constantly using the word conditioning and preconditioning. Is it the vasanas?
Yes. The vasanas get connected to the situations. All the vasanas do not, impressions do not get connected at a time to one thing. Take for example, you are here in the ashrama. You have what is called impressions or vasanas of spirituality or godly aspects. Automatically your devotion comes up. You automatically want to do some meditation or practice. Automatically you want to read some scriptures which help you to elevate your consciousness. So this is how in this situation your positive or spiritual impressions get activated. Whereas you go to the supermarket, there is agitation. You want to buy a product. Every product says this is the best thing for you, buy it. Even if you have practiced spirituality, you get confused there. You see, why? What vasana is, you have been doing such kind of buying in the previous days also. So the previous vasana says, now you see, now latest product has come, it is best for you. You must look for only latest products. Now, it is connected to the fierce impression. So that is how the world forces dominate or condition or present life. Then along with it, the social forces. Social forces say, yeah, you have to be like this only. You have to dress up like this only. If you dress up differently, you are outcast. You do not belong to our society. You are a stranger. If you go through the customs, you will be looked with suspicious eyes. You will be checked everywhere. You see, that is how the world functions. So we need to know as how to adjust ourselves to the social forces, at the same time not to be off social forces. That keeps our what is called the dignity. For example, a security personnel checks you. Let him check, it is his duty, he is being paid for it. What is it? After all, you spend 2 minutes also that. You show him respect, and he shows you respect. And there is nothing. Sir, thank you. So you see, so here you kept up your calmness, harmony, peace. And also, that person you made peaceful. So social forces. And then apart from that, the own side within. You want to do something, but you are not able to do it. Because these forces are so very strong, you do not know how to bring about this goodness in the areas of different forces of the world.
keeping the focus on the spiritual practice, it can almost take away the effect of the external forces.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is possible. Take for example, social forces are there. You are a spiritual person. You are engaged in some of the positive thinking. For example, you are traveling. When you travel, generally you want to read newspaper or read some magazines, particularly magazines which advertise all kinds of perfumes, fashion items. They provoke your desire to buy, is it not? So if you are a spiritual person, there may be magazines. You may just look to the magazine and say, I am not interested in it. You may have your own book, say Bhagavad Gita or whatever it is. You may be concentrated in it. So this is how the spiritual force helps you to be free from the world forces. And your pocket money remains.
And then, do you have a responsibility? Is it only that you are free and is that good enough? Or do you have a responsibility to do this for other people as well and help society and, in a way, fight these forces?
Yes. Your responsibility, for example, your pocket money is saved.
Do you want to save other people's money or let them spend?
Yeah, now this pocket money that you have saved, perhaps you have seen some poor child. If you want to help a poor child, you can help. So the poor child can come up in life. I'll tell you a real story later. It's time now. Don't you feel the difference when you chant Om and after the chant of Om? You?
Yes.
So that shows the self that expresses in this kshetra, body, mind, gets connected to infinite reality through the vibration of Om. Is it not? No? So we are still in kshetra, in the field. We have started cultivating it. We are yet to come out of the kshetra, or we are to reflect as how we are to cultivate the field. So as we have been discussing this morning, the kshetra is very large.
Near mouth. No, volume is fine, the near mouth.
You can get it proceed further with this side. The field is very large. To prepare the field, we must free ourselves from 4 factors. The traditional factors, hereditary factors, world factors, and the forces that work within oneself. I asked this question purposely, whether you feel the difference when you chant Om, and after chanting Om, see the field, this body and mind automatically becomes harmonious, means it is that infinite reality that starts expressing itself in every cell and molecule of your body. Whether you are able to feel it or not, it is that reality. We are all born out of that vibration. And we grow up with that vibration. And we die, or we give up this material body with that vibration. So the real liberation comes when we get connected, unified with this vibration. That is why in one of the chapters, very beautifully it is explained. All the disciplines or practices, rites, rituals that one practices in life, it is only the essence of it is this. The yogis meditate. It is this Om. The people practice continence, practice different kinds of disciplines, whatever it is all to get into the vibration of this reality. I do not know whether I explained it last time or not, how we are born of this Om. What were we in our mother's womb before getting formed as a child? The protoplasm, or you call it the bioplasm, whatever it is. In the bioplasm there is a kind of spanda, means vibration, let us call it. There is no vibration, there is no consciousness, that cell is dead. If the vibration vibrates, means there is consciousness. So what is this consciousness? You may say it is mother's cell, it is mother's consciousness that is vibrating in it. Well then, let us question, what is mother's consciousness? Where did she get? So when we analyze it, we go to the source. Source, it is pure consciousness, infinite consciousness. So it is that consciousness that starts expressing itself or vibrating itself in that particular cell. It becomes multiplied, becomes the baby, comes out, and what is the cry? So from that is Sat, existence, expressing one's existence. Then next comes the wants or desires, means the consciousness starts expressing itself. I want this, I want that. For the baby, there is mother and milk. So when the milk is given to the baby, it starts expressing with a sound, something like well, baby is totally satisfied. Total satisfaction goes to deep sleep. Means it's only ego consciousness in the baby. So it is pure consciousness goes deep into it. So well then it comes out of the what's called the deep state because the environment, world forces, all forces vibrate around it. Along with that, the hereditary aspects or factors are there. So all those forces, they bring back to the world existence. So the baby grows with the environmental forces, traditional forces, educational aspects, and all that. So you see, we begin our life with Om, and at the end also is nothing but Om, whether you want it or not, you are that. So, if we can be conscious of it, consciously give this what is called irrigated land, we are free. So that is why the beautiful story told by Ramakrishna, the two farmers, they were cultivating their land, there was drought, no water. One farmer, he had decided, no, I must cultivate the land. I must bring water from the world to my land. It's a firm determination. So midday he has not finished the canalization. Afternoon, no, it's not finished. Wife comes and tells him, it's time for lunch, please come. No. Evening also, until he finished his work, whoever comes, whatever comes, no. He has finished his work and water flows through his field and he sees that his field is filled up with water for the crops and satisfied. Comes back home, asks for oil for taking bath. Now tells his wife, prepare my dinner, I will have my dinner, I will have my smoke, I will sleep peacefully. So here shows that the total satisfaction leads to that silent state. There is nothing, it is nothing but Om. When the Om is closed there, that state is pure state. So if we can consciously come to that state, you must be knowing, you can imagine how peaceful it should be, what joy it should be. Otherwise, it's true, people die, though there is silence, behind them they carry a baggage, huge baggage, belonging to the world. Why don't you leave your baggage there? Why do you want to carry it? That is why Jesus said, if you want to enter into heaven, leave your luggage there, baggage there. Let's say what, fardo? No? Fardo means it's your baggage. Leave your baggage and come to me. So unless we leave our baggage behind, we are not accepted in. So we have to come back. The God calls us back. Go with your baggage. So that is why our kshetra is very vast. Every action, every thinking decides our forward journey. So every action, every positive action has its result, great result. Generally we think if we do some service to someone, they don't care for us. They don't even thank us, this and that. So that is why I wanted to tell this story this morning. A young boy, he used to go to school. He was from a poor family. It was hot summer. When he was returning from school in the evening, he was very thirsty. He happened to pass through a house where a woman was standing outside the house, went up to her, told her, "Mother, I am thirsty, can you give me some water for drinking?" The woman looked at him. She saw he is not only thirsty, seems to be hungry. She went inside, brought a glass of milk, told the boy, "Have it." Boy said, No, I don't want milk, I want only water." "No, my boy, drink this, you are hungry, you are tired." Again the boy refused. The woman said, No, my boy, you drink it." "No, I have no money to pay for it." "Don't worry, you have not to pay for it. I am giving it to you with my sincere heart. Take it." So the boy drank the milk, was very pleased with the woman, very happy. He did not feel any kind of what is called contraction or condition there. So he was a brilliant boy. He got educated. He got educated as a medical doctor, had his specialization as a heart surgeon. Fortunately, he was engaged in the hospital in that particular area itself. So one day one patient comes, a heart patient. Immediately he could recognize who the patient was. It was this woman who had given him a glass of milk. Immediately he took her as inpatient, told her, "You need to be operated. It may cost something, but don't worry, it is needed." The woman said, No, I don't want any operation. I can't pay any bill." The doctor said, "You see, money is not important. Your life is important. I can correct the problem. Please allow me to do it." The woman resisted, but the doctor insisted. So she had to agree, and she was operated. She was all right. She came to normal state of health. She was to be released from the hospital. The bill comes, and she looks at the bill. it is several, what do you call it, millions? Several thousands. She was trembling. And also she was speaking to herself. I told the doctor, I don't want all these things. From where can I pay all this? After all, I'm going to die. I'm a single woman, this and that. So just then, the surgeon entered into the room. He stopped talking. Then the surgeon said, "Mother, you're all right. You can go home now." "Yes, I'm all right, but look at this bill." "No, that bill, you give me. It's not for you. It is for me. You don't worry, you go back." "Yes, I shall go back, but why do you want to treat me free of cost?" Then the surgeon said, "Mother, do you know who I am?" "Why? You are a surgeon, well-known surgeon of this hospital." "No." "Do you remember you gave a glass of milk to a young boy?" "Oh yes." "So where did that boy?" "So I am your boy. You have nothing to worry. Go back." You see, a good act, how it has resulted. So everything that we do has its reaction result. Good act brings good result. Not only good result, multiplied result. So it is not a built-up story, it is a real story. So that is why we need the knowledge of our field everywhere. Knowledge of our every action in every area of our life, without which the progress of life gets blocked. So, at least now let us begin with the verses. Otherwise, Swami Veetamohananda will satisfy. So, idam shariram kaunteya kshetramitya vidiyate. Etadjo veti tam praho kshetrajna iti tadvidaha. This body, O son of Kunti, is called the Kshetra. Now we come to the individual aspect of life. And that which is conscious of it is called Kshetrajna. Now, that is why I asked the question, how is your feeling when you repeat Om? What is the effect after the repetition of Om? So it is this feeling is the knowledge, understanding. So it is this consciousness is called Kshetrajna. Also, in the 12th chapter, perhaps you must have noted, Aham tva sarvapapeshyo mokshayishyami marsha. I redeemed you from all impurities. Don't worry. So, if we want to be liberated, we need to get connected to the infinite reality. Not to get connected with the matter. So there is distinction between matter and spirit. The deity is spirit that expresses itself as matter. We have every possibility to convert the matter, transform the matter into spirit. Now it is something like this, you see. I think of something, I become that. Means my spirit is conditioned by a particular object or whatever it is. Quite often, for fun, I give an example how our consciousness changes. The word God. When we say God, what happens to our consciousness? The consciousness becomes God consciousness. The same word, same spelling, change it. Becomes dog. How suddenly the consciousness becomes dog consciousness. So, to transform matter as spirit, we need higher reality. So, this body, this mind can be transformed as spirit. I can give you the example. Take for example, Ramakrishna himself. He also was, he had a body, he had a mind. He also was like any one of us. Because you may say he was a God man, born with God consciousness, and all that and all that. Right. That's one thing. For us, we ordinary human beings, he was like us, a human being. Now, instead of transferring consciousness to matter, he transferred the consciousness to God's reality. The whole being became God's reality. So, as all of us know, he stayed in the highest state of, let us say, nirvikalpa samadhi. But body was intact. How the body remained intact? He simply transformed the matter as spirit. In reality, it is the spirit that gets hardened, is it not? So, that is why every one of us have the possibility of converting matter as spirit. So, shall we go to the next verse? You may argue, yes, this body is the basis of all enjoyment. The enjoyment also becomes conditioned according to the state of consciousness. Here, take for example, one may be highly rich, one may have everything that one needs for one's life, but there is no satisfaction. You may have a beautiful apartment in London, in a posh area, with all comforts, but inwardly you are not peaceful. So to get peace, you may become alcoholic or any other kind of holic. Workaholic. Or workaholic is all right to a certain extent. At least one is engaged in doing something.
It's positive.
Yeah. So, if one becomes alcoholic, all the richness is transformed as alcohol. Imagine. There is no peace with alcohol. You go on consuming and consuming, and you go on creating all kinds of problems to neighbors everywhere. Where is joy of life? So, to enjoy the basis of life, the field, we need to know what is behind this matter or field. So the knowledge of that helps us to live the right life, right thinking, right activity and all that. Kshetrajñam chapimam viddhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. Kshetrajño jnanam yat jnanam matam mama. And know the kshetrajña means embodied self in all bodies. See, he says all bodies, there is no distinction. It is the kshetra. The knowledge of the kshetra field and the kshetrajña, that means matter and spirit, it is the knowledge that is needed to be progressive. Then we go to the third verse. Tat kshetram yaccha yadrupcha yadvikari yatascheta sachayo yadprabhavascha tassamasena me shun. What is that kshetra is, what it is like, what its modifications are, whence it arises, and what its forms are, and also what the other entity is, that means kshetrajña, and what its powers are. Hear that from me, means Lord. Now here, the reference is given to Sankhya philosophy. So according to Sankhya philosophy, it is Purusha. Purusha and Prakriti. Now, to make it more understandable, let us take the representation of Kali. Kali is dancing on the body of her husband. Dancing means it's called nothing but cosmic dance. Shiva, her husband, is pure consciousness. How can we know the pure consciousness? For us, through manifestation. So according to Sankhya philosophy, Prakriti or nature is the manifestation of this reality, Shakti. That is why Ramakrishna says Brahman and Shakti are not different. They are identical. The expression of the Shakti, it is Prakriti according to the Sankhya philosophy.
Ramakrishna also gives an example of the snake lying and then the movement
Yes,
of the
yes,
snake.
yes. So, the expression of Shakti, movement. Then you may question why Kali is terrible. She is not terrible. In reality, we do not understand her. She is colored as black. In reality, she has no color. She is colored as black because it's beyond our understanding. How much we know about the cosmos. How we know what is happening in the manifest world, why it is happening, why man is not able to have control over nature. All our discoveries, has it helped us to discover the nature in its totality? So what we have discovered, our scientists have discovered, is only a infinitely smallest or atomic portion of it. There's much more to be discovered. Recently there was a news in Switzerland. They have a what's called
concern about
yeah. So one British scientist also there. So he described it. He has named it as a particle. God particle. Yeah.
Boson.
Yes. So it's only a particle, not the whole of it.
Such exception.
So perhaps he has called it God's particle because there is no other name that which he can attribute to it. So what we have discovered is only a particle. So the Kali representation is the representation of the whole cosmos. Well, in one hand she is holding a severe head. In another hand, she is ready to destroy with her sword. Destruction is inevitable. Everything that is created, it has its destruction one day or other. But the creative force is with her. The creative force is that severe human head. Then you may say, yes, she is putting on the garland of human head. The human head is nothing but the Sanskrit alphabets.
Sanskrit?
Alphabet. From A, E, U, like that. So, only 54 syllables are uttered through human mouth, is it not? They are expressible. For us, it is the human head that expresses. So it comes from her. Every sound is produced from because of that force, Shakti, power. Well then you may say she is bloodthirsty, her tongue is protruded. No. She is not bloodthirsty at all. He simply asks you to love her. How much love you have for her. Of course, there is another expression.
What part of Kali, as you're saying, is telling us to love her, but what to do? We are not aware of that symbol, asking for love.
We are not aware of it. As you are saying. See,
The
we say,
symbol of
she,
tongue.
generally we say, protruded tongue, she is bloodthirsty. Thirst for the blood. Now, thirst for the blood is not the blood as such as we understand. It is the essence of the blood, it is the force, the love. Take for example, everyone it is same. Perhaps you have seen our cows.
Yes.
They lick each other
Yes.
through the tongue.
Yes.
Is it not? The expression of that affection. So animals or other manifest, everywhere it is the expression of love.
It's the very first thing that a mother animal would do for its
Yeah,
baby.
exactly, yeah.
Maharaj has also said that the Puran story of Chinnamasta, that's why Kali's tongue is red. That she severed the head of this thing, and the Chinnamasta, the thing is that if it falls on the ground, then it's called new. So Caesar comes out to drop, catches the drops of blood.
Yes, yes. Now you see, the creation also has its system. According to law, it must be according to eternal law, the creation should take place. It is not what is called chaotic creation. So it is to make us understand Chinnamastha means, see that you cannot spread the seed anywhere and everywhere. It has to have its place, time, and its cost. So it is to show the protective power of the divine reality. So here, the divine creation or the whole creation is out of love. Take for example, biblical expression. God alone was. God desired to be multiple. What is that desire? It is not selfish desire. There is no egocentric desire at all. It is just pure love expressing itself. So how to know the self? Through the multiplication. It is the same thing in the Upanishads also. God alone existed. He desired to become many. He entered into every creation. Means he has to love it. Without love there is no creation, there is no unification. So in reality, that protruded tongue is the symbol of love, pure love. So the other two hands, my child, you are my own child. You get what you want. Only thing I need your love and orderly life. I give you everything. Don't be afraid. See here, courage to be, and with that courage you achieve everything. My child, nothing to be afraid. So this is the symbol that we worship. So here you see Kshetra and Kshetrajna. The manifest world is the Kshetra. The knowledge of that reality, there is the knowledge. It is that knowledge that takes us to the Purusha or infinite reality. So in the Christianity also same. For example, the Son, Holy Father, and the Spirit. So I am the truth, I am the way. So through the incarnation, through the ideals, we go to the Father. I take you to my Father. The Father takes us to the Holy Spirit. So same thing here also. Kshetra is there, field is there. Then Kshetrajna. Of course, this is Kshetrajna. Here Sankhya philosophy does not accept any what's called personal God, whatever it is. So the knowledge of the Kshetra, functioning of the field, body, mind, senses and all that. So this knowledge helps us to go to the Purusha. So that is why here, through nature, which is divided into 24 categories, is meant by the word Kshetra. First is Mahat. Ahankara. So from the cosmic intelligence begins that I-ness. So this I-ness leads to do activities. See, here we should not confuse between I-ness and egoism. It is ego consciousness. So ego consciousness makes us to function. How do we function? There are karmendriyas, there are jnanendriyas. We do for doing actions, we have the organs, hands, feet, eyes, nose, ears, and behind them there are the perceptive forces for each indriya. There are jnanendriyas for hearing. Inside your brain or the intelligence has to get connected to it. Say you are hearing the music. It's a beautiful music. Where the intelligence, I consciousness decides that yes, it's a beautiful music. Also I see a beautiful thing and the picture is taken inside and intellect has to say, yes, it's a beautiful thing. So it is jnana indriya. So 10 indriyas, and then there are mahabhutas. What are the mahabhutas? Elements. Ether, air, water, fire and earth. The combination of these three, of the five, according to the quality, sattva, rajas and tamas, they take the forms. So, behind it is this consciousness. You take for example, bioplasm in mother's womb. If mother is constantly conscious, yes, my child should become a brilliant child. So this consciousness goes on vibrating in that what's called cell, becomes multiplied with that consciousness. A brilliant child is born. Of course, in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, at the end, you find how one should conceive, how one should have the life pattern during conception, what type of food you want to, you should consume for conception of a particular desired baby, and all that. So everything is related to that pure consciousness. So it is true, the mother's consciousness may get affected by the two qualities, sattva, rajas and tamas. Then also, from the very beginning, if the mother is sattvic, child that is born becomes sattvic. Take for example, Chandramani, the mother of Sri Ramakrishna, she was a devoted lady. All the time she spent her time in worshipping God or God consciousness. Also, Chudiram, father of Ramakrishna, all the time it is what is called that consciousness. See, that vibration has affected as the divine child. So the matter can be converted as divine. So the parents have great responsibility in what's called giving birth and development of the child. That is why Swami Veetamohananda in one place says, do you think the parenthood is it's mere pleasure? It's a great responsibility. You are giving to the world a child which should be of some use to the world. If you give a child of a nature, demonic nature, for example, it becomes a destructive force to the world. So you see, in the Ramayana also, the example is given. Sita was pregnant. She was sent away to forest. It is not divorcing the wife or it's called separating the wife. There is a particular reason for it. The reason is that the conceived children should have those divine qualities. Where can they get divine qualities? Only in such an atmosphere where everything harmonious, peaceful, natural, and all that. So you see, those who live in cities, do they get positive vibrations? One has to live in small rooms, and if there are quarrels between husband and wife, again that affects the child. Every vibration affects the child. So you can imagine how powerful should be the power of consciousness. I'll give you another example where in our everyday world, whether this positive force can be useful, can change the negative tremendous force. Yes. I give you the ideal. Take for example Holy Mother, Sharvati. When she met that robber, what was her... yeah. Now, she was not afraid. She did not run away like other people. Simply said, Father, I have lost my way. My companions have gone far off. I do not find my way. It is dark now. See, when she said Father, the vibration of word Father brought down that what is called cruelty, vibration of cruelty, and here that affection started generating. The lady comes, addresses the lady as mother. See, parental affection is generated. The aspect of cruelty is brought down. Aspect of cruelty is transformed as parental vibration. So they gave her all protection, all necessities. Not only that, they conducted her right up to her companions. You see? So that is the, power of this pure consciousness. You may question me whether it can be applied in our present day, but to a certain extent it is possible, though it may not work as it worked for Holy Mother, because we are not Holy Mothers. Our kshetra is conditioned, and our kshetra is always connected to traditional way of cultivating. We don't want to use modern facilities for cultivation. And if you use chemicals, people object, oh, they are using chemicals, it's dangerous for our ecology and all that. So many forces affect. So, what is called, this kshetra is so very important, delicate for everything. So we should not use chemicals, means chemicals of other people's opinions, way of living and all that. See, what's called, the way of living produces chemicals, no? The chemical change that alters the consciousness. So
misguided ideas.
Pardon?
Misguided ideas.
Yes, exactly.
As chemicals.
Also, the chemical reactions, it can be easily understood. Say, for example, you are angry. How much of chemical reaction takes place? So here is an indication for all of us. The body mind should be kept in a right state, and in that right field we can cultivate. We can get a good crop. We need not use fertilizers. Of course, we should use fertilizers which are organic.
Nutrients?
Later we come. What kind of organic fertilizers? So we are...
Holy Mother's incident, similarly when Swami Veetamohananda said brothers and sisters of America, transplantation.
Yes, exactly. Now, we go to the fourth verse. See, we have another 5 minutes. Until sixth verse is the explanation of the kshetra. See, Rishibhihi Bahuda Vitam. Now, Rishibhihi, it has been sung differently by the sages. See, again here the beauty of this Bhagavad Gita in the Vedas. Ekam sat vipraha bahuda vadanti. All right. The same reality, instead of sages, he uses rishi. The same reality is brought about. You know what? The different kinds of rituals we do, prayers we do, mantras we chant, all this adjusts to that same reality. So it has been sung differently by the sages and variously in different Vedic hymns, as also in passages indicative and descriptive of Brahman. And also they have furnished reason and also methods. All these are addressed how to make this kshetra pure, good, fertile, be receptive to that infinite reality, God's reality. Then, Mahabhutani Ahankara, exactly. The 5 great elements: ether, air, water, fire, and earth. Egoism, intellect, and the unmanifest, the 10 sense organs, and the other one is mind. The 5 objects of senses: desire, aversion, happiness, misery, the body, intelligence, and patience. All this belong to the kshetra field. So, the knowledge of this kshetra consists of all this: how the sense organs should function, how we have to handle the aversions, happiness, misery, or intelligence and all that. How we have to keep up this body, body mind integrated in a harmonious state. So the knowledge of this is the kshetrajna. So, up to 6th verse, what is called the field and the node of the field is explained. Next comes what are the fertilizers we have to use to make this kshetra fertile, or fit instrument for getting united with the Purusha. The qualities like humility, harmlessness, forbearance, greedilessness, uprightness, service to the Guru, purity, steadfastness, self-control, dispassion, absence of egoism. So many qualities are mentioned. Perhaps we'll reflect on them tomorrow. It's exactly 5.
What are the seeds in the field?
Pardon?
The seeds.
Seeds. Seeds depend.
Oops.
for human beings it is human seeds.
No, the seeds in the mind.
Seeds,
The mind field.
mind field.
There's a body field and there's a mind field.
And that's why mind and body should be combined. So mind says you must have this type of son or daughter. For example, so if you want to have this type of son or daughter, then that is the seed point. The consciousness goes on functioning that way. Then for making it actuality, you will have to know as how to connect your consciousness to that effect. So that is why in the Upanishad, Dhadaranyaka at the end, the food habit, the way of living, way of communication, way of thinking, everything is explained. And also, these scientists, they were much advanced. What is called the embryonic transference.
Transfer of embryos.
Yes. Is it practiced now? They live it how many years?
Krishna.
Yes.
Balaram.
Yeah, okay. See, this idea was there how many millions years back. So those who have compiled or made available of this knowledge, they were not fools. They were not religious fools. Should we close with the prayer? In the name of Swami Veetamohananda, human excellence, I started with a question. Suppose your child asks you, what gift are you going to give to me for my life? What should be our reply? Will you say to your child, my child, I will educate you well, you have to earn your livelihood yourself? Or will you tell your child, I will have plenty of property and money left for you? Or will you tell your child, see, I have brought you up. I am leaving you in this world of chaos, of competition, of hatred and jealousy, animosity, competition everywhere, a place of anxiety and fear. You have to work in this world. You have to adjust yourself to the society, to the world pattern, and all that and all that. So many types of replies you may give, but these replies Are they self-satisfying? Will they bring accomplishment to the life of your child? When we analyze the whole affairs of the world of today, there is lot of competitions everywhere. Yes, competition is needed for constructive way of living. Competition which brings anxiety, fear, and all types of problems. It destroys the personality. Do we want a society or the world which destroys the personality or helps the personality to grow up, be progressive and all that? Then you may say, yes, my child, you must earn money. You must live a comfortable life. Yes, earning money also is not an easy task. There is a lot of competition. When we work for money, we are conditioned by the money, by the sum that we receive, and with it all types of problems. Well, you may earn money, you are questioned, how did you earn this money, where did it come, and you have to pay tax on it. If you evade tax, then again you are punished. So many problems come up. Then you may say, my child, I will educate you. Does the education give fulfillment? Yeah, that is true education. There is education that is given by the society according to the need of the society. For example, the society says we need engineers. Society says we need technological people. We want accountants. We want medical men, medical people, or whatever it is. Yeah. Well, we get the child is educated according to the demand of the society. Now, as we observe it in the world today, the education that is received has no value tomorrow. We have to get re-educated, reoriented. So, our education leads where? Limited type of education leads where? Or demand of the society leads where? So many questions come up. Well, there is real education. Education is something which we learn every day, every moment of our life. That is why Ramakrishna said, as long as I live, I learn. Yes, if this spirit comes to us, well and good. But do we find this spirit in our present day world? If this spirit is found everywhere in the world, then there won't be room for anxiety and fear. Are we not living our life, every moment of our life, of anxiety and fear? How many people are happy? So, it is here we have to think very deeply as how we have to transform ourselves, our family, our society, our nation, our world. Indeed, we may say, it is not my task to transform the world. world it will be as it is. It will have its own course. But what about me? I've got every possibility to transform myself. I can be ideal to my child. I can show my child what is ideal, what is best. So here, that is why yesterday I said, every parent has a great responsibility to present a child to the world. So, what qualities can we give to the child? Well, you may say, yes, our period is over, we are in the last phase of our life. Our children are educated, they are well established, this and that, so many reasons you may give. But is it satisfying? Is it enough? Now here comes the question, what we can do, how we have to conduct ourselves. We may be old, we may be young, we may be students or established in life, whatever may be our status in life. There are certain values which every one of us can practice and present to our family members, society and all that. Whether this family accepts it or not, whether the society accepts it or not, it is not our problem. It is the problem of the society. But we, as an individuals, as a family, we can follow certain principles in our lives. So it is this that gives us the real knowledge of ourselves, our family, our society, our nation. Whether the principles, values you practice is accepted or not, it is not our problem, it is the problem of the society and the other individuals. So here comes certain values which we are to try to practice in our everyday life. Amanitva means humility. You may say, why if we are humble, people take us for granted as fools, good for nothing. They try to overpower us, do all kinds of harms. So how should we practice humility? It's a great task for us everywhere, not only in the family, not only in the society, in work area and everywhere. So humility is a quality that does not show off itself, means one does not show off himself or herself. The qualities are there, the capabilities are there, the potentialities are there. Wherever you are needed, wherever you are obliged to function, you function perfectly well. Whereas an egoistic person, he or she will not be able to function as you are able to function. Even in difficult situations, you are not perturbed. You have that inner courage. You don't show up yourself as the person who is authoritative, who has the knowledge, power and all that. So that does not help for oneself, also to others. When we show up ourselves, oh, he is egoistic and I have nothing to do with him or with her. So even if you have good qualities, because of the show up of oneself, you are rejected. Whereas, well, you have your qualities, be as you are, don't get identified with anyone else, or anyone else's qualities, or anyone else's problems. That keeps up our inner harmony, inner peace. With it, we are able to function perfectly well. So this is what is called humility. It is not to remain humble or I do not know anything. It is pretentious humbleness.
Do not get identified with other people's problems.
Other people's problems.
What's that?
Say, take for example, you like someone.
Yes.
That someone likes someone. So, if that's person whom you like,
Yes.
like someone else,
Yeah.
leave the person there. Yeah, let him like. It is not your problem, it is his problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then comes, next quality comes. Unostentatiousness. How we interpret it? Absence of egoistic attitude. As I was telling the other day, was it yesterday, I don't know. The ego has three aspects. I consciousness, then egoism, then egocentrism. The problem is created by ism. I consciousness, it can be connected to the source, reality. Now, with egoism, there is a little bit difficulty in that. You are identified. Disidentification becomes difficult. That struggle comes. Take for example, you are identified to your position in your office or work area. This is my area. Suppose somebody comes and tells you, my friend, why don't you change your way of working? You move your table a little to the other side. You say, why should I move my table to the other side? Who are you to tell? So I am identified with the position. So there it becomes a little difficult to transform ourselves. Well, if we are able to think deeply, well, perhaps there is reason why this person is telling me. There is a chance of analyzing. And if you find his suggestions are good, you may change it. So that is how the egoism functions. Then the third aspect, egocentrism. That is very, very dangerous, difficult to do anything with such ism. So whatever I say, whatever I think, whatever I do is right. All others must follow that. The world should move according to my will and power. If the world does not move according to my way of functioning, then take the military and crush. So this egocentric attitude. So it's very difficult. So here, Dhamba is not there. That's what is called. I rule, I control. There is no that, what is called, suppression, oppression of anyone, anything, anywhere. So this is the quality that is required to imbibe in everyone's life. Then comes the third quality, ahimsa, harmlessness. So, how we can practice it? Himsa is done in many ways. Even if I speak harshly to someone, that hurts someone. If I think bad of someone, that also harms the other. So thinking, feeling, doing everything in a negative way, it is himsa. It is not merely killing an animal just for what is called game. Hunting game is there, is not. It is just for pleasure. Such pleasures, where do they lead us? So you see, you must have known the result of such hunting games. It was the Prince of Spain who went for hunting in Africa, and in the process he broke his leg. And not only that, he used government money. Then he had to, when he came back, he had to apologize to the country. I did a wrong thing. Imagine using the public money for one's own pleasures.
Yeah.
So this is the third quality, ahimsa. For one's own pleasures, one will not do any harmful acts. Well, you may say we kill birds and animals for eating. That's permitted because it is for our sustenance. Even if you eat vegetable, in vegetable also there is life. So, for one's own sustenance, whatever one does, it is not himsa. Then comes forbearance. That is also a very difficult quality to practice. Suppose somebody insults us. The immediate reaction is to reply back. But then, you see, if you are able to forbear, that retains the inner energy, inner calmness. If we are not able to forbear, lot of psychophysical energy is wasted. Constantly we go on thinking of the other person who has insulted us. Also, we are not satisfied in the way we have replied. We want to give more peace of our mind to the other person. When we start giving peace of our mind, we lose the peace of our mind.
Over a period of time, can it not destroy that person? You know, if you're forbearing for...
No, forbearance, it's not like that. It's not acting as the other is acting. The other one
Suppression is what I'm thinking.
is not suppression also. No. Here in forbearance, bearing everything for the other. Now, when you bear everything for the other, there is love behind it. Now, you are not harming the person, but you are making the other person to understand that what he or she has done is wrong. So, forbearance can be practiced. For example, like this. All right, you have insulted me. Well and good. If you think that is that, I withdraw myself. I know as I have to function. I function according to my understanding, my capabilities. If you think that is better for you, do it. So, if the other person is wrong, he starts thinking about it. And one or other time, one day or other, he has to come back, say, apologize. For example, recently it happened to me. I've been to a seminar. And in that seminar, the leader of the seminar, he was a semi-Buddhistic traditional man. We are of Vedantic tradition. Whatever we speak, it is both scientific and traditional. It's combined together. So everything, whatever we do, we say, it has relation to everyday life. So this man said, Swami, we are speaking of meditation, mantra, this and that, but our practice is to be in the present. And I questioned the person, how can you be in the present? How many seconds can you be in the present? See, 1 second you are not able to be in present, immediately another thought comes. After that another thought comes, where is your presence? So whereas here in meditation, you disconnect yourself to your past.
And then bring it to present.
Yes. Automatically you are taken to
The
present and it gives the progress. So he went on arguing. I said, if you think that way, it's all right, don't worry, do it. I came back. I received a letter saying, so I am very sorry. We had a lot of stuff from your sayings or whatever, teachings or whatever it is. Please forgive me. So, had I been gone hammering him, no, this is the only right thing, you have to do only this way. It has negative effect. So he's a sectarian. He wants to preach his ideas only, and all that. Nothing. So this is how forbearance can be practiced. Then next comes uprightness. Uprightness. Yes. Uprightness. So, in our everyday life, we function. we function according to our intelligence, our capacity of doing whatever it is. Also, we try to be perfectionist. So in our everyday world, you see what is called work. Commitment of work is there. Commitment of work is there because we are to receive our pay. Now whereas here, so we work, we receive our pay, perfectly right. But then we show our perfection. We try to show our creativeness and perfection. For example, a particular thing is to be done. One person may say, oh, it is very costly, it should not be done. We can do it sometime or some other time. Well, if you are a little reflective person, you may reflect and say, no, it is better to do now itself. It may cost a little more, but then in the future, the price may go up and it will cost us a double. Should we wait until then? Why not do it now? And the period between now and later, you have to go on suffering, you have to go on spending money. Instead of that, why not do it now itself? Be free from the problem. So this is how the perfectionism can be practiced. Then we go to the service to the Guru, Acharya Upasana. See, in Sanskrit, it is Acharya Upasana. And service is not there. Because it is translated as service, because sitting near, Upasana. To be near to the Guru, the teacher, one has to find one's way, one's own way. It is not that when the Guru comes down, we will have to bow down and salute, Swami, you are great. No need. Instead of that, simply you may ask, Swami, good morning, how are you? Have you had your coffee? Or can I get you a cup of coffee?
But your answer is very difficult there. I asked him in the morning, can I get you something? He said, yes. God.
So if I get God, I have to give back God to her.
Yes, absolutely. That's a deal. When he finds God, he has got to transfer him to me.
Also, we should not displease the teacher. We may displease the teacher in many ways. For example, our wrongdoings, or our wrong way of living. All this may bring displeasure to the teacher. Thereby what happens is that the teacher may feel whatever I am able to give to the person is not at all valuable to the person. Why should I do it at all? Otherwise, the real teacher is always protective. He is like mother. Everywhere, anytime, all the time, the teacher is there with you. Now, this nearness of the teacher must be well analyzed and practiced. If the teacher is there all the time with us, we'll have to know how to extract from the teacher the best possible from the teacher. On the other hand, in our everyday life, what we think, oh, I got my guru, I can do whatever I want. If I do something wrong, he will protect me. If that is the attitude, then guru will not come to your help. Of course, even if you do some wrong act, guru can read your heart. If the heart is pure, sincere, then he may say, okay, don't do it. Be like this, he will give you the direction needed. So this is what is called Guru Seva.
But you still get your karma fun because you've done the wrong karma.
Pardon?
Because you've done a wrong karma in a way, you still have to suffer the consequences.
Yes. But that consequence may not be so very hard.
Yes, it's reduced.
Why is it reduced? You've done it. Why is it reduced?
You've done it.
You see, for example, you have had some problem with someone. Now, you come and tell your teacher, see, I had problem with someone. I do not know how to handle it. That someone has spoken to me in such and such a way, has harmed me in such and such a way. The teacher will tell you, all right, don't worry, I know that such and such a one. I shall have a talk with him. I shall try to make understand that person. So you are able to talk to the other person, or the teacher talks to the other person, automatically that state of anger or hatred or whatever it is brought down. So here the connection is brought about harmoniously. All right, something wrong is done. The effect has already there because you feel. Yeah. So here the effect is there, you suffer for it because of the what's called teacher's consolation, protection. It has calmed down.
How reasonable it is to bring your problems to the Guru.
You see,
Be careful of your answer.
that is true. See, in this society, in the family, you can't communicate everything to your near ones and dear ones. They will feel, what, we have our life. Why should I take this person's problem? And in the society, to whom will you speak? Maybe close friends. Close friends, how much time and energy they will be able to spend for you? You say, no, I won't have time now.
It's not close anymore.
Yeah, please find your own way. When you come to your teacher, he listens to you, says, all right, don't worry. You practice your japa, meditation.
Forget the word, which is a brilliant one. So, all problems solved.
Yes. So now here there is reason for it. When teacher says, teacher tells it with all love and also when he says you repeat your mantra and meditation, the mantra vibration is such, automatically it transforms your whole personality. So your problem comes down. So you feel a kind of peace. So that is why Guru is your mother, Guru is your father. Yes.
You said about not displeasing the Guru, but how do you please the Guru? What's the, like, what should a disciple be?
By your sincerity.
Sincerity?
Yes, yes. So you may give a gift to your Guru, but that gift is only momentary. Today it is there, tomorrow it is gone. But your sincerity, it is eternal.
The devotion, isn't it? Sincerity and the devotion.
Devotion,
To what
yes.
the
yes,
Guru is
yes.
teaching.
Yeah. Here devotion means it is love for the truth. See, for example, Guru says you practice your japa.
Yes.
So you see, the love for japa. He says that because it is that transforms your problem and also personality. So the love for that change, love for the mantra or formula that is received, it is devotion. It is, and the sincerity is shown by doing it. Also, sincerity can be shown in many other ways. For example, you come to the ashrama. The ashrama is not for your Guru, but it is for you. Guru is there for you. If Guru lives in the ashrama is yours. Whatever you can do for the ashrama, that is the service of the Guru as well. Shall we give up our Guru now? Then come purity. Shaucha. So we have a formula in Gretz. Purity, sincerity and dignity. Purity, sincerity and dignity. Dignity does not come from what you possess. Dignity comes because of this inner self manifesting or expressing itself spontaneously, intensely and all that. So that is dignity. So to achieve that dignity, the soul must be freed from all impurities. Of course, there are two types of shauchas, means purification, internal and external. For example, the body must be kept clean, pure, healthy, and all that. And also whatever we use for keeping this body pure, clean and all that, they also must be pure. So that is the significance in the ritual, you see. You prepare your what is called puja. The utensils are cleaned up, everything is washed up, kept there for the worship. So in reality, what is called this body is the temple. The inner self is God. So whatever you do externally, as let us call it as puja, it is to worship this inner self. You may question how this inner self is awakened by doing external worship. See, let us begin from what is called purification. Purification of the utensils, washing of flowers, preparing the sandal paste, and then offerings, everything. Offering also you do it with your pure mind. Oh, it is for God. See, God consciousness is brought about. So the preparation of the food also is purified with that pure mind, pure consciousness. Then you clean the vessels. Oh, this is for the worship of God. God consciousness is brought about. You pick flowers, God consciousness is brought about. You arrange the place for God, for the worship. God consciousness is brought about. See how God consciousness, pure consciousness is intensified. So this is the meaning of the ritual in reality. So if you do it mechanically, then there may not be any effect. Take for example, Durga Puja is going on or some other puja is going on. You go to the shop, buy some flowers and put it before the pujari or before the inside the offering tray or whatever it is. It's all mechanical. There the God consciousness is much less. Yes, you may say, I am buying flower for God. A bit of consciousness is there. That is all. That is not enough to intensify pure consciousness. So every act should be converted with that consciousness. That becomes the real worship. Well then.
So the main objective of puja is actually purifying.
Yes, I come to the other aspect of it now. There is image or representation. Now representation or image or whatever it is nothing but you, yourself. For example, you see a representation. It is you, yourself becomes that. Take for example, you look at the picture of Ramakrishna. You say it is Ramakrishna. How do you know it is Ramakrishna? You have not seen him. Somebody has told you, you have read from the book, he is Ramakrishna. To a baby, whether it is Ramakrishna or someone else, all the same. Is it not? So, from your memory, from your understanding, from your education, you know that it is Ramakrishna. So, in the same way, the representation that is there, it is from our what is called educational pattern or developmental pattern says that is that. So that is you. The same picture for another one may be different. Another person, for example, yes, it is Ramakrishna. Why he has not dressed up like us? why he is keeping his beard. The other person may not look as you look upon Ramakrishna. So there is always change. So that shows, see, what you look at, it is yourself, your reflection. Well, your consciousness is directed to that representation. It becomes that representation. Then whatever you do as ritual or offering or whatever it is, you do it with that consciousness. So that consciousness that gives you peace and harmony and joy. Well, then we have been told, if you do this a particular ritual or worship or this or that, you will get this benefit, that benefit and all that. That is also true, because you see, you do it with that consciousness. The result is set aside. Now, after the ritual is over, you are in that consciousness. Now you need to have the result. With that consciousness, you work for that result. And that result is added unto you. So that is how the worship brings the desired result or whatever it is. It's not there is no such a thing as miracle and all that.
You know, this is when your consciousness has identified with a desire while doing that, results into your getting it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah? What if you do it without any desire? You get nothing.
No, the peace and harmony becomes intensified.
But I did not do it with the intention of getting peace and harmony. I just sat there.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. That's enough. That peace and harmony is there.
Thank you.
So there's no miracle, but a murti, some vibration or something, because that will not happen.
Yes, the vibration, it depends. Take for example, you go to some church or temple, you see the image. Do you feel the vibration? You may feel the vibration because your consciousness is connected to it. No, it is not the murti that vibrates, it is your consciousness vibrating in that way. Now, I give you another example. The Ramakrishna worshipped Mother Kali. Well, for him, Mother Kali is full of pure consciousness, also a living personality. There were others, for them it is only an image. For him, he sees that, what is called, that state of the consciousness. Take for example, somebody criticized. What is it? It is only a stone image. Oh, all the time you are saying, Mama, what is this? Mama, is she there? Then he was little disturbed. He goes to the temple. He wanted to test whether mother is real or not. Put the cotton before. See, for him, the cotton moves. If I go and put the cotton before the mother, nothing will happen. So it depends upon the state of consciousness.
In some places you feel much stronger than in others.
It is a mass vibration. Take for example, we are all sitting in the chapel. We all have that same kind of what is called God consciousness. So it is that consciousness that vibrates. And that vibration, it is not destroyed, it remains. It's like waves, you see. Those waves, they surround all the time. To destroy that wave, you have to bring another contrary wave. So that is why when you go to a church or a temple, you feel that vibration.
In the Orthodox tradition, we say that you have all the time to make like puja, mass in front of and to celebrate the icons.
Yes, exactly.
And if you stop, they will die.
Yes, it's to retain the vibration, that God conscious vibration. Yes. It depends on the individual. Say for example, you go with the God consciousness to the church or temple, yes, you automatically feel that vibration, you feel peaceful. You go with a lot of what is called confusion, worry. You carry the worry and confused vibrations to the church or temple. Well, because of the vibration surrounding you, this worry and confusion is reduced a little, but not totally. And also, it becomes contagious, your worry and confusion. Suppose somebody is standing near you, immediately he says, what is this person? See, immediately the vibration is felt. So that is why it all depends on our state of consciousness. So the purity is practiced to elevate the consciousness. So everything that we do, everything that we think must be pure and good. Take for example, for offering, we choose the best fruit or best sweet, or you cook with all purity, not only purity of thought, also before cooking for puja, you have your shower, clean dress and all that and all that. Every act helps us to elevate consciousness.
That's why the Buddhist mindfulness would be helpful in that.
This is mindfulness.
Yes. Total mindfulness.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
The Buddhists use that word mindfulness because they don't want to use any God reality or whatever. Yeah.
That's the mindfulness.
Yes. In spite of that, they have images. Take for example, this Tibetan Buddhism. They have what is called Tara, and then what is called yes, the other demonic aspects and all that and all that.
Buddha himself.
Yes, Buddha's image itself. So without a representation, no mindfulness is practiced.
Swamiji, I learned somewhere that with meditation, like going deep down, yogis tend to go into alpha rhythm and then into delta rhythm of brain activity. Is it essential to go there in order to reach towards samadhi?
See, this alpha and beta, is it not?
There's alpha, beta, delta, and theta.
Beta
is the beta is
waves,
when we
alpha
are
waves and beta
awake.
waves,
Yeah.
according to your state of consciousness.
Yes,
And
yes,
that's
yes,
the way
yes.
monitor it, some kind of through the instrument.
See, in meditation is automatic. To the extent consciousness elevates, all these wave patterns also change. So we need not give much attention to, oh, this is alpha, this is beta, nothing. But it's automatic. The real effect of worship or puja or what is called meditation, that is inner peace, inner harmony and all that. I think we need to stop here. We have so many qualities to reflect. We have come up only to the purity. We are all purified now.
How many more?
Steadiness, self-control, passion, absence of egoism, yes. Seeing misery and evil, old age and sickness, non-attachment, non-identification.
We'll be here for the whole year.
we have enumerated almost 20 qualities been enumerated. Now, Swami Veetamohananda says, if you take one idea and live and die by it, so if you take one of these qualities and live by it, will automatically other qualities
added
to that.
Yes.
And then again, Sri Krishna in the 12th chapter also more or less enlisted these qualities. And why so much emphasis? I mean, this why immediately after 12th chapter is repeating again more or less the same?
Yes. Now it is here you see, in this chapter, Sankhya philosophy is more stressed. So again for the Sankhya followers also, the same qualities. So not to reject the Sankhya followers, they are also integrated in the system. So what you have, it is already there. It is just to show that unity, integration. Otherwise, you see, as we see it in the world today, the religious fights. Why there are religious fights? Because each one thinks my path, our understanding, values are alone true, the others are not. Whereas here, the harmony of all systems are brought in. So there is no room for any kind of fight. It is valid. When he says according to the what is called Bhakti Vedanta, the same qualities. If you take Sankhya, same qualities. So ultimate reality, same to all. As Ramakrishna himself told us, Yato Manta, Tato Pat. As many faiths, so many paths. So if Sankyans have those qualities to be practiced, yes. Here also in Vedanta also it is same.
So if I want to acquire all the qualities, I can focus it on one.
Yes,
Whichever,
yes.
according to my tendency, this is one, then I can easily practice rather than something which I have to simulate it and cultivate it with very difficulty.
Yes. For example, in the beginning itself, she says humbleness. Humbleness itself is enough. Along with it, all other qualities are added unto it.
To perfect that one,
Yeah.
you have to involve
Yes.
the others. And so automatically your you are going to continue with this.
Dignity, the Gretz formula. I'm curious to know the Gretz formula, the sincerity, purity, sincerity, and dignity. What is dignity?
Dignity comes from divinity. Transforming ourselves as divine beings.
Does it?
That is why Sahadeva. Sahadeva means that those divine qualities become your personality.
Does it suggest an external manifest behavior, the dignified behavior? Because I imagine for myself, I never could be dignified. I mean, in my own imagination, because you just feel certain characteristics, you just don't have it, you can never develop it. I don't know. No, inside I might be good, but I can't be sure I will have externally a manifest. I'll still be as mad, so the dignity will not be there. So I can't be committed to Gretz. I'll not be eligible to come to Gretz.
Now you see, dignity is not something, it does not depend upon what we possess materially or what our positions are in the society or how many people respect you in the society and all that and all that. Now, what is called dignity, it is the expression of divinity. Divineness is expressed in your personality. How the divineness is brought about by these qualities. So, that is why when we say purity, when purity is practiced, automatically the dignity also starts manifesting. Take for example Ramakrishna himself. You say he was illiterate. He did not care for any material possessions or any kind of learning. But he was dignified. Everyone showed him respect. Why? Because of that purity, because of the divinity. So dignity depends upon the divine qualities.
When we talk about this dignity, obviously we are here, we are talking about, mostly we're focusing on the spiritual aspects of, in ordinary sense, I said, oh, she looks dignified, right? And what you mean is she has got integrity. One thing is common between the spiritual people who are dignified and us, the ordinary, who are not at all on the spiritual, moving on the spiritually dignified. She has got the integrity. She or he knows ins and out in a very intact way. So it's very dignified. So it's the quality.
quality of whatever that is.
It is a divine quality.
personality.
It is
So-
divine quality in reality.
Yeah.
It is a spiritual quality in reality.
Mm.
Okay, for example, a woman or man, dignified means, might not believe in God, personal God, or whatever it is. Maybe living a principled life. So that those principles are more important than anything else. So that is that is the divine quality or spiritual quality. It is that expresses itself in the person. So that is in reality the dignity.
So that dignity on the spiritual level, and I'm not saying that if we don't talk about the spiritual things, we are not aware of the spiritual development, and the people who are competing to each other on this very worldly level, we are all worldly people, we are all samsari householders, but still we are trying to improve our quality of spiritual life. I would just say, not the quality of life means all having a very good, lavish living, standard of living, but that is also a standard, the mind, to uplift. And in that case, both have got the common core, that they have got this integrity with the reality. Is that what I'm understanding is correct?
It's an integration of certain qualities or principles make the personality dignified. Whether one is believer in God or not, it's different. For example, one may not go to temple, one may not meditate or whatever it is. One may be principled. My principles are this. Those principles make the person dignified. For example, your daughter-in-law respects you. Why? Because you have certain principles. This is my family, this is my family principles, so I follow my family principles. So your daughter-in-law respects that. So that is where your dignity.
It can be total bigotism as well, because the family values have never been sussed out what the quality of family values are, and then trying to impose it on the new things under the guise of dignity is quite wrong. At these divine qualities, attributes here, at some point it must coincide or meet the mortal levels, because God is addressing to a mortal. And these mortals, particular mortal Arjuna, he must have got some ideas about what is good and what is not good, because collectively here God says these are the good things, and anything which is not within this band, they are not good things. So it must come together, that this Arjuna's belief, like I believe, that's the question of dignity comes with self-respect. Now, my self-respect comes with certain tasks I do. Not all the attributes are applicable to me because it does not cross my way of life. But as Chandra said, there is one particular attribute that connects me. If I follow it through, I am in the right path. Only one. Don't need to know all 20 of them.
Yes, you're right. Let us take example of sincerity. So in your family tradition, you follow the family principles sincerely. Well, when you start following your principles sincerely, the purity is added unto it. Whatever against the principle, you reject. So there you maintain the purity. And also, when you adhere to the principle, there is steadiness. You are not, your personality is not dispersed, and your mental, physical energy is not wasted in other things. So that is how that peace and harmony is retained. So that peace and harmony expresses itself as the dignity, is it not?
Maintenance of the peace and harmony of mind.
I think what we are grappling with, Swamiji, is because in English common parlance, dignity is something very physical. A dignified person, we don't think of dignity. Today is the first time I'm thinking, connecting the two words. These two words don't connect in our brain, that's why we are grappling with it.
Yes,
I don't agree with that.
Dignified look. Like Shanta said, a dignified person. In my mind, it's an altogether well-presented, well-packaged personality. And I look at that person, I don't know her human values, I don't know his human values, but he's up on that dais, and I said, what a dignified looking guy. Like that day, on the panel you had, you know, that Lib Dem guy who came. He spoke very well, and he delivered absolutely to a point. I forget his name. Simon. Yes. Very well. To me, dignified. Now, divinity did not cross my mind. After today, it is going to. So that's why we are all grappling with it.
In Western definition, Swamiji, I think Sri Ramakrishna is not dignified. In the sense because he's bare-bodied and sitting on the floor and all these things. But your definition of dignity fits perfectly in Sri Ramakrishna.
The divine quality.
I think the Western expression of dignity is not, if I may say so, is not quite right. I agree with you.
Yes, it is what you call dignity, according to our understanding, depends upon the material aspects. Now, we are all what is called spiritual thinkers. For us, not only for us, for everyone, even if one is materialist. The dignity comes from the spirit of being. The spirit of being does not depend upon the matter. The matter is transformed or converted as the spirit. So should we not give importance to the spirit?
Definitely, without doubt. As of today, as of now, I will think this way, but I didn't tell that.
But, I don't agree with a lot of people who define dignity. In Western world, we sort of say dignified looking or dignified behavior. So I think what we're doing is we're causing a split here. Certainly when I'm looking at somebody and say, what a dignified person, it would be somebody who doesn't give in to anger, who is self-contained, who behaves in a manner that doesn't...
That's the divine quality.
But what I'm saying is that dignified for me is not just an appearance, it is both. So I think that we are getting confused in the definition.
No, we are not confused. You are the only one that is thinking this way like Swamiji. The rest of us are grappling with it still. You obviously are spiritually evolved.
Swamiji, I think fundamentally here what we're talking about is the difference between a personal dignity, which is what we should be striving for, and an apparent dignity of somebody else, which is usually through the way our eyes have been colored as we are growing up in whatever society. I mean, Gandhiji, to me, growing up in India, was one of the most dignified people that I could ever look upon. But he was described as a naked fakir by Winston Churchill, the Prime Minister of Britain, no less. But through Winston Churchill's eyes, I can understand how he was looking at Gandhiji. So this is the dignity which is given to us of looking at other people. But I think what you're talking about here is our personal dignity, isn't it?
It is both personal and impersonal. Personal dignity becomes impersonal dignity.
But we give to someone. From that comes the
is it not?
dignity.
Okay, for example, I may be a naked man, but I am sincere and pure. So you don't look at me as a naked man or impure person. You see me as a pure person.
Yes.
So that purity expresses itself as dignity, the respect. So here the respect goes to the spirit.
Yes.
But they accepted,
Please,
Gandhiji was accepted as a dignified man. They did not
Please, Swami.
treat him as a fakir.
Oh, excuse me. We try to separate the spiritual and the material side. But they are both interlapping. And we think too much about the material side. But still, it is in. The spiritual is in. That's what Swami is explaining to us.
Can I just share? I just looked up the Oxford textbook. And it just says what you have been saying all along, and it's terrible, but I don't know why we've been debating. It says calm and serious, deserving respect. And he is, throughout his trial, he maintained a dignified silence. So it's really about the manifest behavior. It doesn't give the physical connotation. That's very interesting.
That's what I mean. But I mean it in a very physical way.
Yeah.
That's what I would think is divinity, but in a physical way.
Yeah.
Divinity doesn't even cross my mind till
It
Swamiji
says
put it.
calmness, calm and serious, deserving respect. So it's really what you've been saying.
So, Swami, what I was getting at, that whether on a spiritual level somebody is dignified inside, and as you said, somebody is pure and sincere, total devotion to, so obviously comes through within, whatever that is the inner core, it just reflects on behavior or traits or whatever. So that's the spiritual then, that dignity I'm trying to define. And those we are saying in a common core, that he and she is dignified. But both of them has a common thing. Common core is integrity. Is that, is that it's a good way of going away from this idea? What I got, that integrity should be in both of them.
Yes, integrity. See, what we generally understand by dignity, it is borrowed dignity. If it is a material dignity or whatever it is, or bought dignity.
That's interesting. Hire it. Take it on hire.
I mean, Swamiji, we also look upon you as a package. What we are seeing here is a package outside, but you represent values and principles, and that's what gives you the dignity.
Yes.
Isn't that? And that is what we should be striving for as well.
Those values, the values are important. So it is the values that give the dignity.
Swamiji, organic dignity and inorganic.
That is also excellent.
What's that one? Organic and inorganic is acquired, what you have.
And it's biodegradable.
And organic is the true values.
Except these values are not degradable.
That gentleman has said rightly, it depends how you look at it. Churchill look at Gandhiji undignified, whereas
but at the beginning
the
I wanted to ask about, we all have different perceptions. And the same thing, there's quite a lot of mention about inference and perception, which is obviously based on our own experiences. And if you want to go forward in our spirituality and thinking, how do we address that issue? How do we correct our perceptions? Is it possible at all?
That depends upon your analysis. Sometimes our perceptions may go wrong. What reference we can have for correcting ourselves? We can refer it to the higher, what is called, authority in that area, compare whether it is true or not. That is one way of doing it. Or analyzing oneself. Why it is to be like this only? Why not be other way? So it comes from the self-effort or through, let us say, self-analysis.
So there's
that
an
is,
element of ego in it.
yeah.
So does this apply to Kshetra, the field and the knower of the field, who has to cultivate the field with all these qualities?
Yes, yes. It depends upon the, what's called, right perception. For example, the cultivation of a field. One need to have the right perception. A particular crop, which has its season, it needs particular fertilizer, particular climate and all that. Now, what does the farmer do? He does not simply follow the routine. My father has been doing like this, I will do like this. So he sees the changes of nature. He tries to see whether this particular crop can grow now or not. And how can I put the crop? Whether I should put that in this field or in the other field. If this field is already once used, it may not be fertile for the next crop again. So I will use the other field. So this is how the right perception is analyzed and made practicable. Is it not?
That's part of Swadhyaya, isn't it? Self-analysis.
Yes.
Soji, just going on from the various discussions, trying to narrow it to one thing. You were saying a little while earlier that what we're really worshipping also is some sort of a pure consciousness within ourselves. So the problem then, of course, is all the outwardly clothes and whatever we add on. My question is, how do we find the pure ourselves? And is it necessary at some point to lose all outward things, all ego, all sense of job? Is it necessary to be naked in that sense to find the pure ourselves?
Yes.
And is there a method?
Now, you see, when you are in deep sleep, what are you? You are totally naked. There is no world. There is nothing what you call near one, dear one. Nothing is there. So that is an indication that whatever we see as valuable, this and that, is something like a dream. Now it is there, perhaps in the next moment it may not be there. But then you may question, are we not to function in life? If you go on dreaming like this, where it will lead us? Now, here comes the question of being in present. Now, this moment, yes, it appears to be real to me. I'll function according to that reality. And, well, it may get changed. Yes, if it gets changed, let it get changed. I will adjust myself according to the changes. So, it's this kind of thinking comes by the inner being, soul, self. So it is the inner self that gives the courage to adapt yourself to the same changing situations or whatever it is. So now when you have to change, you have to become naked for the past. So you have to forget all other aspects of the past. You have to be in the present. So it is constant. This what is called it is a constant movement. That is why in Vedanta the word used charaiveti. Charaiveti. Be and moving on. Keep moving on. Keep moving on means, see, whatever is past, it is past. You cannot bring it back. It was yesterday, I think we read, no? In the teachings of Swami Veetamohananda. Yeah. Past is past. How can you bring it back to the present? So you have to be in the present, analyze what is right, what is wrong, and go forward. If you are stuck up, you are stuck up with the past. How can you bring back the past? How can you live in the present as you have been living in the past? Take for example, you all have the experience in your family itself. You have been living in a particular way. Your children, they have started living in a different way. And your way of living cannot be applied to them. If you are to be with them, they say, Mom, you have to be like this. We are living in another country or another custom and all, you have to be like this. Okay. You have to change yourself. Or your children or grandchildren may speak the present day language. Your old language may not be may not be understandable to them. Whether you will change yourself or you will change your children. The children will not accept the change. You are fast. So that is why it is a constant movement everywhere in every areas of our life. So we must be able to accept it. So there comes the question of detachment. So when we say detachment, vairagya, it is not just giving up everything and running away. If there is no inner detachment, it won't work at all.
So how does a person develop detachment from their husband, wife, children, mother, father, etc.?
That's very interesting. Now, the wife is attached to the husband, husband is attached to the wife, children are attached to their parents, and parents are attached to children. Now, detachment takes automatically. Take for example, a married couple for a year until they get children. They love each other so intensely, dearly and all that and all that. When the child is born, 50% of the love goes to the child. The detachment, unknowingly you have to detach yourself from the husband. Well, the child grows up, then you have to detach yourself from your child. Child has to go to boarding school. You have to see your child in boarding school. Whereas you see your child once in a while only. You will have to accept that separation, detachment. It's automatic. Or your child is grown up, well educated, gets a job elsewhere in some other country, gets married, lives his life or her life. So they may keep very little contact with you. What will you do? will you be sitting at home and crying, oh my child? However much you cry, your child won't come back to you. So the detachment has to take place. We are forced to detach ourselves. So it must come from the heart. So if your child is well established in life, be happy.
And what about detachment from desires?
Yes. We have millions and millions of desires. It's very difficult to detach ourselves. But then detachment is possible to the extent our consciousness elevates. So all the spiritual disciplines like prayer, meditation or whatever it is, they are there to help us to elevate our consciousness. So when the consciousness elevated, automatically detachment takes place. It is not that you lose your love for your near ones and dear ones, but you feel that inner harmony and peace in yourself. For example, your child wants to go away and be independent. You heartfully you accept it. So heartful acceptance comes because of that elevation of the consciousness.
Swamiji, to achieve detachment, you must have another attachment. Always.
Yes, yes.
Because if we are to detach from our kith and kin, for instance, if we know that God is there, as an example, so my mind is swaying towards God, or the reality, it is easier for me to detach myself from my kith and kin.
Yeah. Higher attachment is the better attachment. So that is why generally in the spiritual domain, the Ishta Devata or personal ideal is given. So if you want to get attached yourself, get attached to this reality. This reality is eternal. So take for example in the life of Ramakrishna, that woman called Gopalarma is not. She was not able to detach herself from the baby Gopal, her sister's son or whatever it is. She came and told Ramakrishna, and he said, look upon upon that baby, baby Krishna. Do whatever you have to do in that state of consciousness. So attachment is given to God, not to the child. So that helps to elevate the consciousness.
We are battling in between two attachments.
The first,
yes.
But the most difficult attachment is to our own ego self, like we have a sense of who we are, whatever. And that's very difficult because it's very deceptive, because you think you're doing this, that. But all the while you're being trapped into your own ego self, which is very hard to see it.
Now we are trapped by two aspects, egoism and egocentrism. Sometimes we are egocentric, sometimes we are egoistic. Now, in the level of egoism, there is possibility to live out that ism and get connected to I consciousness or ego consciousness, and that ego consciousness can be connected to the divine consciousness or infinite consciousness. It depends upon as how you regulate your life. For example, you say, I am a doctor, I know everything. I can cure anyone and everyone. So here you are attached to your what's called work or functioning.
Yeah.
So I am a doctor. It is ism. Is a doctor.
Yeah.
Or you come back home. What are you? Are you a doctor? Perhaps at home you are the wife.
Yeah.
Your husband may say, get me a cup of tea, please.
But I am a doctor.
So if you say, I am a doctor, I don't give you tea. He will not accept it. You have to change your egoism. So you have to take your...
Not make your wife. Actually, in reality, that is a problem.
Yeah, that is why there is a lot of confusion, conflict and all that. So, instead of that, you bring a cup of tea. Have, my dear, this beautiful cup of tea. You will see. You will see how much change it will bring about. When you bring your cup of tea and tell your husband, my dear is enough. I have brought a beautiful cup of tea for you.
If you had smiled with it, wow.
And you would have forgotten all other problems. You come and sit with me, share with me a cup of tea. You see, ism is changed. So in the same way, we have the possibility of changing this ism, ego consciousness.
What's the safe ego consciousness?
Pardon?
The safe one. You know the safe ego consciousness? Where it is very safe to, so if I have to choose of one constant ego consciousness, what shall I have? To me, so far I think, is to be a devotee of God. That looks to me very safe. You know, which I can constantly keep it, whether I'm a doctor, whether I'm a wife, whether I'm a mother, whoever. It's very safe for me because whatever I do, I just remain only a devotee of God.
Nothing.
To me it is safe, very safe. I don't know what's...
Yes, yeah, that is
safe.
right.
Safe.
Safe.
Swamiji, even there people get trapped. I'm a bigger devotee than you are. You worship 5 times, I do 10 times.
But I think isn't the answer to say that I'm not a doer and I'm not the doer.
Yes,
I'm doing
you are nothing.
And Ishwar Pranidhan and everything.
Yes, that's right. That is the best way. Take for example that song in Bengali, Sakali Tomari Cha, everything is thy will. I am only a machine. Whatever you make me do, I do. So there always that God consciousness is there. Also, just yesterday we told the story of Ram's will. So ego is connected to Rama or God reality. And also there is ego playing games. I am a greater devotee.
He's already started on that.
No, he's right.
No, he's already started on that.
You know that story? Krishna and Arjuna, they were walking and saw a man sharpening the knife. And He was known to be a devotee. He was sharpening his knife. Arjuna asked Krishna, why is he sharpening a knife? He's a devotee. He's your devotee. What for he is doing this? Is he going to kill someone? Krishna said, you go and ask yourself. And he went and asked him, well, you love your Lord, God, but why do you sharpen this knife? He said, yes, I love my beloved God. That Arjuna, he is constantly troubling my Lord. He made my Lord as his charioteer. If I see him, I want to kill him. Now, who is greater devotee here? So let us show our devotion in the chapter.